It's Mr. Peter Spellos!
How y'all doing? Oh, we can make noise in that. How you doing? All right, I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Peters!
Come closer, son. Come closer. So people can take pictures of us together.
Thanks, Dad.
Look, the number 00 right here, right in front of us. Nobody got that. It's okay. Hi, guys.
Now, I believe we're going to be talking about Superman for the next hour.
Okay. You love that.
Welcome back. How's it feel to be back?
Humble. It is an amazing feeling. Last year when I was here, I made, about 900 friends. And now it's over 1,000 friends. But more than that, it's family. I can't call you fans. You know, you absolutely make noise. I think all we really, truly ever want in life is to be known. Is for someone to know who we are. And in a room like this, because we all sit in that quiet room and play with our toys and we'll be accepted, this is the place of great love and acceptance. And the fact that you wanted me back and remembered something I did very silly 15 years ago, I will never, ever forget. I promise you that. And by the way, I have no problem with applause whatsoever, just so you all know that.
So, let's start from where we...
No, I was posing for the cameras over there. But I love that you responded with applause.
That's dramatic posing right there,
It is
isn't
dramatic
it?
pausing, not that I know how to milk it or anything.
So, tell us, what have you been up to over the last year?
A lot of you know my mom has been ill. I've been home taking care of her in New York, which is truly the greatest thing I've ever done with my life. Because of you, my career got kind of restarted. I've been working on a web series called Living in Exile. That's been a lot of fun with a lot of the comics who... Hey! Don't make me come back there. It'll take me a half an hour. Don't make me come back there. So I've been working on this web series. I wound up doing, I've done a lot of horror movies, as some of you may know. I did a convention called Cinema Wasteland outside of Cleveland, Ohio in April. And my other girlfriend, the Indie PopCon in Indiana, they had me as one of the guest of honors out there. And like you, it went so well for me. They've asked me to be the MC of the entire event next June in Indiana, beginning to teach weekly acting and improvisational classes for the city of Indiana. I'm going to be hosting. Once again with the mic. Where are we going? There we go. Am I not speaking in the mic? This is much better now. I feel really good. I also feel like a walrus at the same time. No, I think I'll do this over here. I have a theater company that I had on both coasts called the New Mercury Theater Company. And it's an homage to Orson Welles and his theater company. And he did a thing I don't know if you know called War of the Worlds. That on October 30th, 1938, on the CBS radio network, they did a 1-hour radio play. And the entire eastern seaboard thought the Martians were landing in New Jersey. So I am going to recreate that entire event as a stage play on 77 years to the date on October 30th in Indiana. So I'm very excited to be directing it. And guess who's going to play the Orson Welles role? Here we go. Yeah. Excellent. Oh. See, I look at it this way, David. If I keep getting applause breaks, I only have to talk for about 48 minutes or so.
That sounds good, yeah. Work fast, work cheap.
You know me, don't you?
Give them only what they need.
No, give them everything they need. And more.
So, you've got that going on. Anything else? Or?
That's plenty as
I was
far
going to
as
say,
I'm
pretty
concerned.
full.
You know, and in fact, I love you guys. I love the UK. To come back here and, eat my body weight in sausages and brown sauce for 4 days is truly an amazing event for me. So that's what's going to be happening. I'm going to be teaching once a month in Indiana, and because that's my other love. Many of you know, especially my poet friend over there in the third row, it is so important for me to give back because I've been a very lucky bloke most of my whole life. So to be able to teach and do all that is really one of my big joys in life. So I'll be teaching acting and improvisational comedy, and hopefully I'll help build something in the Midwest that I was able to build on both coasts.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to get some runners in a few minutes with some microphones. So if you've got any questions, stick your hands up now. You've got a question for yourself?
Yes, Man of Steel.
Yeah.
No.
This is the part I've been waiting for, yeah?
You know, I used to call myself Kal-El, but since he's Kal-El, he's made me Jor-El here. No, but David and I have a mutual love for Superman. And,
but only one of us can claim to have been in Superman.
I was actually killed by Lois Lane in an episode of Lois and Clark in the 4th season. So, I've had a cool career. I've been killed by Lois Lane. I've been interrogated by Perry Mason. I'm a robot shark. I've been neuralized by Agent J, and I turned into Freddy Krueger, okay, in Nightmare on Elm Street 6. So, that's more joy than a boy really should have.
So let's take it back that we do have an awful lot of people who weren't here last year. Tell us how you got started. When did you first discover your love of acting?
I first discovered my love of acting when I wasn't pretty, I wasn't athletic, but if you made the girls laugh, they sort of come around you over there. And I thought, well, I'm onto something now. And you know, my first loves were the old black and white comedies, Laurel and Hardy, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, Abbott and Costello. Those were Jackie Gleason on television. Those were my mentors. And like you, and like this place is a community, I found that, you know, I was an awkward teenage kid, but when you went to the stage in the theater, there was a sense of family there. And I guess my whole life I've always searched out groups that accept me for who I am as a part of the family. Then I realized I had a facility to act a little bit. And I'm still at 61 a student to the game more than anything else. Excuse me, I've been talking for 4 days straight. So I joined the acting club. Please water. I joined the acting club in high school. I went on to get a fine arts degree in college. I was always on stage. I moved to New York to be a young actor. I was doing comedy on the radio on WABC. My first film was as an extra in Saturday Night Fever back in 1976. I know, somebody just went, ooh, like you're old. Oh my God, I love that. And then I had a nightclub in New York called Who's on First, where I did comedy and I was hosting the shows. And then in my 30s I went, I haven't had my film and TV career. So I left everything I knew in New York City and I moved out to California, where I was truly blessed to fall into another family, a theater company, and I went on to act in films, over 100 films and TV shows, 40 different anime series. I mean, I hope that they see as I keep bringing fun to it. You know, they want to hire you after a while. Everybody's good. Everybody's good. But unless you be yourselves, they're not going to notice you. You can't be what they want to be. You got to be you, and all of a sudden they want you. So for a long time, they wanted me. And then for a while, they wanted a younger me. And then for a while, they wanted someone who looked like me. And now they don't want me anymore. So it's kind of a full circle thing that comes around. But as long as you keep doing what you love, and I promise you I'm doing what I love, you'll always be happy. They can't take that away from you, ever, ever, ever. I'm so good with applause breaks, I really am.
It's good. It's almost like you're a professional.
Almost.
Right, okay, who's got a question for Peter then? Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about the sick Nightmare on Elm Street movie, Freddy's Dead Final Nightmare. I just want to know, what was it like being on the set of that movie and working with Robert Englund in a film that's part of such an iconic franchise like Nightmare on Elm Street?
First of all, I didn't get to work with Robert. I got to see Robert. You know, you haven't lived until you see Freddy Krueger with all his silver fingers going through the donuts at the craft service table. Going, hey, is there any curlers left here? I really like a curler right now. It was, we have Doctor Who fans in here? Me too. The last 2 episodes last season with Missy, the director was a woman by the name of Rachel Talalay, and she's also directing the first episode coming up in 3 weeks. She was the director on Nightmare on Elm Street 6. And it was a really scary role. I played a very abusive father. I literally turned into Freddy in one of the nightmares. And what was interesting more than anything else is they kept me sequestered away from the other actors because they wanted attention on this set. And the other reason they kept me sequestered is they had to do a head cast of me, and I had a prosthetic makeup on that took over 3 hours to film, to put on. 3 people working 3 hours to get me into makeup. And then you kind of appear on the set. And if you haven't seen the picture, it's on my desk over there. It's really creepy. You know, she beats the hell out of me with a coffee pot. And then all of a sudden I turn around and it's Freddy. You know, so it was great. I mean, I've worked in a lot of iconic franchises, so I'm always very aware of being true to what has come before me and just do my part in telling that story. And that's our job as an actor, is not to encapsulate the story, but what part of the story do I get to tell? So, I mean, that was the best part working on Nightmare on Elm Street 6.
Question over here?
I just like to watch Robert run.
Right, with all your various anime roles and voice from like Skybyte and Neramon from Digimon, how was it working with Saban Entertainment back then?
So many of those stories I can't tell. But Saban was great. I mean, there was the beginning of the Power Rangers, and the voiceover world is really, really small. Excuse me. So you wind up working with a lot of the same people. It was great. I mean, where else in the world can you go to work in your pajamas and a baseball cap and they pay you, you know? And it was great because you worked with the same folks over and over again. I loved working for Saban because I loved working. It's a joy to go to work when you're doing what you love. And you know, it's also great because they respect what you do. They know what you can do. And they just ask you to do that. You know, they don't ask anybody to do anything they can't do. They don't put you in a situation. That's what the audition process is for. But once you book one thing, you wind up booking the other, and they start, the same grumbly voice that I've done all my life is what they booked me for, basically. Except Outlaw Star, where the wonderful Wendy Lee said, I'm not going to have you do a grovelly voice. You're going to be the ship's computer. And I did my worst British faux C-3PO impression that I could do.
I'd like to hear that.
I hate you, David Wise.
Now I love you, Peter Spellos.
Gee, we're only 4 parsecs away. Coming on right now. Ship's doors open.
Oh, yeah.
I told you it was shaking.
Oh, yeah.
Sammy! Ready?
Which movie by Jim Wynorski did you enjoy working on?
I've had a career in skin flicks, not porno, but those, you know, movies on Saturday night where you see half-naked girls. And then a movie called Dinosaur Island, which was army guys, cave girls in bikinis, and dinosaurs. And that was the funnest 2-week summer vacation I ever had. But also the B-movie industry, Sam, was very much like there's no cameras here, don't worry, you can walk right by, it's really okay. It's also like a family, it works like a theater company. So I enjoyed that immensely because I made many good friends to this day that I still see. You know, if it wasn't for B-movies, I wouldn't have wound up doing the big stuff. Because when I did Bound, the Wachowski brothers knew me, who did The Matrix, knew me from B-movies. When I did Dream On, John Landis knew me from B-movies. So don't ever be afraid of your career. First of all, open the closet yourself and show them the skeletons. Then they can never make fun of you for anything. And if they're making fun of you, they're jealous because they're not doing what you're doing. So that was really it. And of course, a movie called Sorority House Massacre 2, which just... And if you haven't seen it, don't.
I actually got the opportunity to watch some of the movies after our auto assembly of last year.
It's your own damn fault, son. You blame that on me.
And then I watched Lois and Clark.
Attaboy, there we go, much better.
And I think they're still up on US Netflix, aren't they? Some of them?
Yes, some of them are on Netflix, some of them you can see on YouTube. By the way, your generation, nothing you ever do will go unseen. So you better be happy when you're doing it, because when I die, there's going to be those same cave girls and dinosaurs I'm chasing around. Love what you do. I mean, that's really the bottom line. Love what you do or don't do it. No is not a four-letter word. If you don't want to do something, anything, say no. You're in charge. Make your own choices. That was an applause break, by the way. Oh, you're so easy.
There was a shark once. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about him.
We have to talk about him. He's the reason I'm here.
Who's heard of Skybyte? So, let's take it all the way back then. Let's go back to the audition process. What did you know about Transformers going in, or was it just another audition, or?
Well, in a really good sense, they're all just another audition. That's my job. Your job isn't to book the job. Your job is to go in and audition and have a good time. I was not a Transformers kid. I was not even a Sesame Street kid. You know, I was 31 when the original Transformers came out. So I knew of it. I knew how popular it was. You know, I played with Matchbox cars growing up. Those were the cars we played with. One single clap for Matchbox over here. Oh, stop that now. But I knew of Transformers, and we knew it was going to be not an original series, but from anime. And I had worked with the same group, Saban, and all these people over and over. So they kind of brought me in for this. Now the scripts aren't written very far in advance. You know, there were like 39 episodes, so there was only a handful of scripts written, and everything gets written along the way. And knowing the community of actors, and I got hired for it really, really quickly. But the weirder I got in the booth, the weirder they would write for me. And the stranger Skybyte became, the stranger they would write Skybyte. To the fact that when they would let me improvise stuff, and we would have such a time in the booth, because we would laugh. I mean, how wonderful it is to go to a job and laugh and get it wrong and then laugh again because you just got it wrong, and to do it over and over. The toughest thing about that stuff is you have to be able to match the lip movements. And when a robot's just going, it's very hard to match the lip movements. So you do your best. You're alone in a booth, you got a pair of headsets on, you're looking at a small TV screen, and you do your best. And if you don't do it, they want you to cut a half second off of it. You really haven't lived to know what a half a second is. But you get a sense of timing. I think voiceover artists are among the most musical people I know, because you got to have an ear for it. Go home and practice. I used to go in the mirror and make funny faces, you know. I still do in the morning, but it's for a whole other reason now, because I can't get out of bed. But again, that same guy with that one clap over there was not going to do. And you just get to the fact where you get comfortable. And you know, the more we did Skybyte, the more all of a sudden people would come into the booth, you know, where the director was, and be watching me do it, because they knew I was going to be weird that day. And if you can't entertain the folks, it's like on stage and you enter, the musicians are the one who gives you the best laughs. So you want to entertain the people around you. And if you think it's funny, it's funny. But I promise you this, we had no clue that it would be embraced in your community like it was. Someone asked me, Could you envision that this would have happened 15 years later? Are you kidding me? You know, that I would be in England twice in a year because this amazing family of people who continue to tell me things like, I remember you when I was young. Well, I remember me when I was young too. But I think that's the greatest thing is you guys, I say to a writing partner of mine, I said, how do you stay relevant at 61 in a world that really doesn't consider you relevant anymore? It's you. It's your joy of this remembering it that keeps me alive. It keeps me coming back to England. So, what I do for you as the song goes. That's number 6 already. I'm happy right now.
So when you were doing Skybyte, was it mostly just you yourself in the booth, given the fact that you were dubbing it as...
Yeah, you sit in the booth and there's a director. Sometimes there's a producer there, but usually the director and the writer are often the same person. And you're just doing it. If you make the director laugh, everything's good. And if I screw up the line, it says do it this way, a little more angry. But I tried to channel the voice somewhere between Tom Waits and Dr. Smith from Lost in Space. You know, oh, the pain. And I thought, remember this. If you steal from one source, it's plagiarism. If you steal from 2 sources, it's research.
We've got 25 minutes left. Let's see how many we can get in by the end.
I'm happy with 7, don't you worry.
Has anybody got any other questions that they want to... Yeah, we've got a gentleman in the middle.
Natalie!
Oh no,
it's Natalie. In the middle here. It's my future ex-wife. Hello, darling.
Did you get much leeway with Skybyte? Did they say to you, you can do whatever you want in terms of your lines, or did you have a specific script?
No, you have a specific script because you have to match mouth movements. But as I continue to get weirder, the dialogue for me continued to get weirder and weirder. Because they knew as an improv actor, and that was my background, I'll do anything, whatever you ask. I don't care. I have no shame. Except for the commercial I did in Dragon in 1986, where I had really no shame. But yeah, they keep writing for me and knowing that I will embellish it. I will bring it big. Because it's like sculpting, Natalie. You can always cut back, but it's difficult to add on. So you give them more than they need, and then if they want it a little smaller, they'll tell you to tone it down a little bit. But what you don't want a director to do is say, give me a little more there. You know, can you put a little more into it? That's usually not a problem with me. It's like, Jesus Christ, son, will you tone it down, please? And I think that's the easy way. I think you always, like you guys, you give more than not you have to, but you give all that you have. You leave it on the stage. She's so British. Thank you.
We've got 1 clap there. Is that 7.5?
He's good, don't forget that. And someone else was in drag last night.
Did you find it liberating?
I find it so liberating. I did a commercial in 1986 for Miller Lite Beer, where we were the East German Women's Olympic swim team with Joe Piscopo. And if you Google him, don't do it now. If I see you reach for your phones, I'm going to smack you. If you Google Helga, H-E-L-G, Piscopo, you'll actually see the commercial. And you won't miss me because I'm the fetching blonde in the pink bow.
I think we've got a question down here.
In the last scene of Robots in Disguise.
Holy Christ. I have to remember that now. All right, go ahead. Yes, I improvised the song.
That's the Skybyte video.
No, I got in the booth and the last page said Skybyte sings. And they said, you're going to sing. I go, well, what am I going to sing? You're going to make it up. And I went, turn on the mic. And I went, who's the greatest shark around? Who's the coolest shark in town? Skybyte, that's me! I swear to you, that's how that happened. And they laughed in the booth, and until I'm 89 years old, I'm going to, I'll be singing that song for the rest of my life. But that's my improv training. I'm fearless. I'm nervous before I hit that stage. But once I put my 2 legs and a cane up on that stage, I'm home. Nothing embarrasses me. I think all of us have a fear of being judged. But they can't judge you if you're not embarrassed who you are. If you live an authentic, actualized life. Screw them, they're gonna have opinions. Look, they're gonna make shit up about you if they don't like you anyway. So why should you be one of the people not liking you? So I go on stage, I'm not afraid. If they didn't like that, I would have sang something else. And I would have sang till I gave them what they want. But usually, like I said before, they'll want you when you realize that you're giving your all.
Yeah, we've got a question over here.
Hi,
Hi,
what's your name?
David.
That's my name too. I just use Peter because it sounds cool. David, how old are you?
7.
I'm 7 times, well, I don't even want to go there. What's your question, David?
You know when you started Skybyte,
Yes, I did.
did you make mistakes?
Every day. David,
Yes?
I'm making mistakes every day of my life. But what I'm not doing is judging my mistakes. One of my great coaches says, and tell your parents to tell you this, there are no breakthroughs without breakdowns. You cannot make an omelet without breaking eggs, you know what I mean? David, I hope you make mistakes for the rest of your life, because you will learn from them. It's like my honeymoon, women are yelling at me over here. And for all the wrong reasons. David, I love you.
That's 11.
I am so taking you all home with me. Yes, sir.
Of all the roles that you've played over the years across all the genres, what is the one role that springs to mind that you're most proud of?
Well, good question. It would have to be a TV series I did called American Dreams on NBC, where it took place in the early 1960s, and I played Gus, the curmudgeon-y director of American Bandstand. You know, and I always had wanted to do a TV show. I had done a lot of guest star parts, but I did 22 episodes the first season and 8 over the next 2 seasons. And it was 30, and I created it. Just like Skybyte, there was none of that before me, before I created that. So to be able to do that, the other thing was, when I was a young actor, I always would watch the shows and they always had a Christmas episode. And I thought, God, if I could only be an actor one day and do my Christmas episode. Oh, I got to do it that Christmas. And I promise you, I did not miss a second of it. I got to be on the set and I went, holy cow, I'm doing my Christmas episode. But I was really proud of that because the show had a heart. And the show was about, 1963 when the show took place, I was 9. I lived through the Red Scare. I lived through the Bay of Pigs. I lived through the assassination of Kennedy and the death of Camelot. So to be able to tell that part of history and to comment on it as an actor, and the more I did it, even in that show, the more they wrote for me. Because they start to know who you are, and they start to create it with you. And it really is the thing I'm most proud of, because it was a show with heart. And I still speak to, Brittany Snow and Vanessa Lenges and Tom Verica. Great people. It's again another family. You're working with hundreds of people behind the scenes that you never meet. Hair and makeup people who take care of you. Wardrobe people, and these are the people that make film and TV. We're easy. We're the last ones to the set, It's everybody else that makes me look good. I just do my job.
Well,
I love you guys.
I think Skybyte's going to ask a question to Skybyte.
Hello, Sherry. ¿Cómo se va?
Ça va. Merci. So I actually knew about, you told me last year about the song, the fact that you improvised the song.
Right.
My question basically goes around the idea of you improvised it, but you must have improvised it around the character. So my question would be, after having played the character for the 29th episode, what is your opinion of the character? How would you describe your own character?
He wants to be bad, but he's good. He's a screw up. It's why we relate to him, because we want to be something, but we're not. But we're really this, you know. And I think Skybyte's hero's journey is learning who he is. I think he's an Autobot in disguise. You know, he wants to be known. You know. I promise you now, come to the bar tonight, and David will buy each one of you a drink for that. So,
That was a cheap part,
you called me cheap and easy earlier, and here we go. But yeah, I think Skybyte is misunderstood. But Sherry, are we all?
Just there.
Thank you for the rule over there. Hi, Vicky.
Out of all the episodes in Robot in Disguise, which one was your favourite to do? Which one left a impression on you?
It's going to get a little serious. The one that left an impression was Skybyte Saves the Day. And I'll tell you why. We recorded it about 2 weeks before 9/11, before the buildings came down in New York. And you know, the whole thing of the Skybyte Saves the Day. Obviously, going back to your thing about he's really a hero in disguise. And nothing has shaken up my country but the realization that we are severely fallible and severely vulnerable. And the fact that it never aired in the States was a very powerful message about transcendence more than anything else. And I just think that's my favorite episode because it reminds me to be respectful of what occurred and what happened. You know, just again on a serious note, I had a cousin in the second tower who got out before it fell, whose wife was 8.5 months pregnant, and I just saw my 15-year-old cousin named Hope that they called the baby when that happened. So I think, especially with art, you don't create it in a bubble. So when something like that happens, that's what's memorable to me. Because that episode will always be a very dark period in my country's history. It's almost like a Monty Python episode right now, the way that they're recording and everything.
Should I start doing the man with the funny walk?
No, I am the man with the funny walk.
I forgot. Yep.
More questions. I know you want to ask me questions.
Peter,
Yes, sir.
if Skybyte was ever to reappear in the show again, would you hope they would ask you to voice him again?
They better. Yeah, of course. I mean, how often do you get to go back and do something you did before? But you know what? I did it for you last night. That's the last time I ever do it. I've already won. You know? 17. Yeah, we're in double digits now for sure. There's no two ways about that. I love when people just wave at me. Hi. What's your name? Natalie.
You're obviously a person that believes in living without any regrets, but is
I didn't say I live without regrets. I say I embrace my regrets and learn from them.
there anything you've always wanted to try?
Unfortunately, most of the 60s and the 70s, I tried it. And I'll tell you this, I don't regret it, and I don't miss it. Yeah, I guess the thing I always wanted to try more than anything else, and I know, don't applaud this please, but it was be the best me, was to figure out what that is, and to keep, look, we're all masterpieces in progress. We are perfect and we are changing from second to second. So, I don't live with regrets, because it's too short. Believe me, I had friends who didn't make it out of the 70s and 80s with drugs, with AIDS, no matter what. It doesn't matter. So if you're living with regrets, please let go of them. Stop worrying about what other people think of you. If you never loved me again, I would still love me, you know, because I like me. So, you know what, I don't have anything I haven't tried. I mean, and I've done a lot of cool things. I've done voiceovers, I've been a puppeteer, I went to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama, and did the civilian thing for 3 days. But that's me. I thought, you know, I never skydived and never want to skydive. You know, I know what I don't want to do. You know, all right, you know, I'll give you one. I wish there was more time for me to go to chef school. And you know, 61, I got to pick and choose what I got time to do these days. So, you know, I'm fairly good in the kitchen. But if I had to live it over, and look, I can't stand for long periods of time, so I could never really do that. But it's not a regret, but that would have been something really cool, and I think that I would have liked to have done.
We've got another question coming.
All the way in the back. Nick Feely!
Boss! I've got a pizza!
Bring it up here, Vans. If you don't know this man, you should. This is Barry Shaw. Come up on that stage with me. Hold that for a second. And this is Barry Shaw. Bangers and Mash. This is a TV show that never happened. A Scot with a bad attitude.
And a Greek with a big appetite.
Hi, Soba. You son of a bitch, there's no pizza in here. And David, that's a technical term, by the way.
Oh.
What? What? He's running. If I could run, I would. Hello, boy. Come to spin a kettle for you.
One thing that's been on back of my mind is Robots in the Skies, the whole Skybyte being a bird thing. Where did that come from? Was that from the animated source or the new
Did you say Skybyte being a perv?
Poet!
Oh, poet.
Yeah.
I believe the haikus are in the Japanese version.
They were, yes. We've had the nod. Chris McFeely in the back.
McFeely! All right, listen, they are. So they're from the Japanese version.
I was wondering where it came from.
Right now you know. It was very simple. I didn't know either. Like, it didn't matter what I was told to read. I just read it and tried to make it as fun as I possibly could.
Do you sometimes regret when you do? No,
You mean could I have done that better? Could I have done that more?
No, I guess the question I was wondering was, did you sometimes feel restricted? You can't get rid of this
Hey, give me that.
Right. Rob, you go back for that pizza box. Right. No, what I was wondering was, you do improvisation.
Yes.
It's part of your vocabulary as an actor.
Absolutely.
But do you feel restricted when it comes to subbing and dubbing rather, and your dialogue, because you have to match up with what's on the screen?
No, I don't. I think that's part of the art. I think there's so many different art forms. I don't see it as a restriction. You know, I see it as the way you want me to dance in that way. It's only limited if you think it's limited. But because you have a certain time frame, you figure out how to fit it in. that's what you need to do as an actor. You can't do on stage what you can do in the booth, what you can do on film. So I never felt restricted in there. My job is to give them what they want. And to give them what they want in 4.5 seconds. And if I'm good in 5 seconds, that's really terrific. Cut a half a second off of that. So no, I never felt restricted by the genre.
Got a question over here?
Hey Peter!
Hello, love.
I just want to say,
Yes.
Skybyte is an angel in shark armour.
And so are you. Thank you.
One question is, when you first auditioned for Skybyte, when you went up for your first audition, did you ever go against any other voice actors to get him?
Probably.
And how did they know that you were the one?
Well, I'm particularly silly to begin with. I don't know. I think, I just have a voice that I do, and it's the grumbly version of my real voice. There were so many roles in that. They have an idea. I didn't audition for any other roles.
Okay.
They brought me in for that. And I think in advance, probably somewhere, they had an idea that, this is Spellos, so this is going to fit in just fine.
Absolutely perfect.
But thank you. But you go in against, I used to go in for a lot of TV stuff with a lot of big guys, murderers, killers, rapists. And we'd all sit in the room together and go, Bob, is it your turn this week? No, Phil got the role last week. No, I think I'm going to be the bad guy this week. There's a sense of camaraderie there too. I'm never in competition with anybody because they don't have what I have and I don't have what they have. So I never feel if you get it, I'm not jealous that you get it. They wanted you. They didn't want me. The broccoli doesn't get pissed when the cauliflower gets picked at the vegetable store. All right? Only we humans who worry about can't give your power away. You can't give your power away. Do the best you can. Go home. Have your life. And one day they're going to call you again and again and again if you're lucky.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Got a couple of questions over here. And a lady with a pointy hat right over there. No, that's you. Don't turn around. No, I like it. Yeah, no, don't take it off. See, don't own who you are. She's still looking around. Starscream. Starscream, it's you. I'm just saying hi. Questions? Over here, there's lots of questions over here. One lady raised her hand for another person's question. How about that? It's Courtney. You boys get good pictures. You get good pictures down here. Fabulous. No, Dad. I'll do it. Let's later on for you, whatever.
Do a retake.
Retake, yeah. I improvise. It'll be a whole different show than the Late Show tonight. Questions? Yes. Who has the mic?
Got one.
Hi.
Hey.
I like your hair. If I had hair, I'd do that.
I like your bird.
I like you. Your move.
This guy. I just wanted to say, you're too nice and funny and inspirational to be on this article. You need to switch sides. I'm sorry.
Okay. I think that's the whole idea of Skybyte. He was too nice to be a predicon. He wanted to do bad, but in the end, he saved the day. And by the way, you're never too nice.
Oh my gosh, you're giving me so many nice lessons today.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And just for that, Dave will buy you a drink.
Grace, I think we're going to be bankrupt. The wedding might be off.
You're not supposed to be working. Keep quiet. And by keep quiet, I mean please talk.
Right, you're paying for the wedding, we'll pay for the drinks.
You fly me over here, we'll have a discussion.
Right, we've got another question around here somewhere.
Chris!
Hi, Peter.
How are you?
Not so bad.
Good.
So,
Yeah, I don't need to hit on your wife so much, just by the way, it's over there. And don't talk, never mind, go and talk to me.
obviously a long career of voice acting and acting. Have you always had the opportunity to see the scripts and prepare?
No.
No.
Most of the stuff I've ever done, I didn't even know what I was doing. Because after a while you start to work, where the director will call you up and says, listen, are you free on Friday from 9 to 11? I go, yeah, good, great, see you there.
Have you ever had a situation where you look at the script and you're actually live and recording and it's just cracked you up and you just...
Absolutely. Skybyte, I walked in all the time with Skybyte like that. But that's the joy of that. Improv has made me fearless. I don't need to know. You want me there, you know what I can deliver. So when I get in, there's a great Kurt Vonnegut short story from a collection called Welcome to the Monkey House. And it's entitled, Who Am I This Time? And that's the approach I've taken in my career. I would go into those sessions and I would literally say that line. I'd say, hi Tony, who am I this time? And they'd break it down for me, and I knew what to do. You know, I don't need to know in advance. You get in your head, worst thing an actor can do is get in his head and think about it, and try and recreate something, as opposed to create something in the moment. This moment will never be again, neither will this one, neither will this one.
Got a question here?
I want you to know that this site's just showing you people up over here, all right? They are so dominating this discussion over here.
Though I do think this side gives better claps.
Oh, look, there's milk all over the floor here. Yes, who's the mic?
Hello, Peter.
Hello, where are you? Oh, there he is, yes.
Right, out of all the anime voiceover roles you've done, and just your anime, which one's your favourite?
Skybyte. There's no two ways about that. Skybyte was just so much fun to do. It's not oftentimes, you know, sometimes you'll get called in for an episode or two. I love doing Gillian from Outlaw Star, because it was one applaud, once again, the sound of one hand clapping. You know, I've done some odd series. I've done a, thank you. And he expects me to reach that. Thank you. Gillian was great fun. I did a series called Blackjack, which is a little known series that was great fun. I had a wonderful time doing Sagat in Street Fighter 2. Boy, that shot the hell out of my voice. Me and two other guys were all the monsters in Final Fantasy VI. So if you hear a monster getting killed, it's probably me. 1 in 3, it's me. But those are the ones you see in my picture over there. And of course, Meramon from Digimon.
Rob, we've got a question right in front of you. No?
The other front of you, that's right. Excellent.
Hello.
Tom. Yeah. I'm not bad with the names, all right? I work very hard at this.
If you had the opportunity to do any role, voice acting wise, which would you choose?
The one that was written for me. You know, there's nothing, I would rather create, like I said, I'd rather create than recreate. I guess the voice role I'm going to do is the Orson Welles part in War of the Worlds. You know, because I wanted to do that series for that moment for 15 years. But I would much rather someone go, you know how someone makes something and says, I cooked this for you. And how much better that tastes. Well, someone calls you and says, listen, I wrote this for you. That's the part I want to do.
That's worth a round of applause.
There's a guy in the back right over here. Either that or yes, I'm not sure which one that is. No, the other guy, and then, oh, you're representing this side now. Very good. Hang on, we'll get to you. Sir.
Hey, Lisa.
Hello.
What would your advice be for people who want to get into voice acting as well as acting?
When they tell you no, screw them.
Yeah!
I would say, like anything else, like the old joke goes, practice, practice, practice. Get a microphone. Don't get enamored by the sound of your voice. but don't be afraid of it either. Commit to it. Find a local radio station. You guys can now get on a computer, you get on your phones, and you can record stuff. Do the work. You know, the Buddhists would say, chop wood, carry water. Do the things you need to do to take care of business. And that's what I do. And do not take no for an answer. I was told I was too fat, too ugly, too this, too that, too old. I don't believe them. I'm too mean for them most of the time. You know, most people can't handle authenticity. But Muhammad Ali used to say, it ain't bragging if you can back it up. So when that time comes, be able to back it up. Not with ego, but that you can do it. You can do the job. And yeah, I need you to get better than me. I need you to carry this on. And then one day you will pass that on. And you can tell I'm a kid from the 60s. So the answer is yes. If they tell you no, call me on Facebook.
Right, we have one question here, and then we've got one question here. I'm afraid that's where we're going to probably have to end it. So maybe
we'll all be at the bar with David, so come on by and ask me questions later on.
Someone once told me that you can start off a blank canvas, but the rest of it is a work in progress, and that everything you meet, whatever situation you're in, is a learning opportunity. With that in mind, would you say that you've learned from the characters you've voiced?
Fabulous question. First, I love your mom. What I've learned is to not hold back. To be who I am. Look, you don't love me because I'm Skybyte. You love me because I'm Peter Spellos. And your mom was right. Going back to over here, be the best you can be. And if it's not the best, keep attaining the best. It's a circle, it doesn't end. Alright? Just keep doing what you love. And don't let anybody tell you no. And again, call me if there's a problem with this. And give your mom a kiss from me. One more. There's no pressure on you, but you're the last question. And I know you're quiet. And I know you're going to kill me for the rest of my life here, so make this a good one.
I'm not sure if it might be the last one, but I just wondered, of all the work that you've done, is there anything you're sort of proud of in the sense you'd like to share it with more people than you've got to? Like, you'd rather it got out a bit more than it did?
That's fascinating, only because everything we've done now is viewable by you on YouTube and Netflix and I think that the one thing that's very hard to find me is my first film was Saturday Night Fever, and I was one of the kids in the discotheque. So I would say, I wish they shot me a little more of that movie, so you could see how young and skinny and full of hair I once was. But no, there's nothing. I want you to find what you love and view it. You know, my career and my life is an open book. So go to imdb.com, pick something, and go view it. And I hope you like it, because I like giving it to you. That sounded so wrong. That just sounded so wrong. Thank you. And I mean that in a non-sexist, non-horrendous, non-creepy guy kind of way. In the back, James, let him ask a question, because he has that hipster beard that I like.
Hello.
Oh, I love that voice.
Could you tell us your experience with John Rhys Davis?
All right, I'll tell you my experience, but you gotta hold this because it's a physical moment. I did an episode called Sliders. It was a TV show that was shot in Canada in the early 90s. And if you don't know who John Rhys Davies is, you need to. He was in the original Indiana Jones. Well, who was he in The Hobbit? Do we remember? Fine, all right, I'm sorry. And classical man, elegant man, imposing man, can speak fluent Latin of all things. And I'm in the elevator, and I'm going up to the top of the CBC, and the door opens, and John Rhys Davies walks in. Now, somebody asks me, do I get nervous? Yeah, I mean, here's somebody I watched on screen, and here he is in the elevator with me. And there's that silence in the elevator for a second. He looks at me and he goes, so you're playing the villain in this week's episode? And I go, yes, John, I am. He takes a pause, and he grabs his belly, and he grabs my belly, and he goes, pound for pound, we're the best villains on the planet, aren't we? And I went, absolutely we are. Elevator opened, he walked away, and I went, I love my life. I do.
There's your water. And with that, we've run out of time, unfortunately. Peter, you did mention, obviously, the new series that you've got coming up. Tell them again where they can find it.
In Exile, but my season is not on yet. Go watch that on YouTube or anything else. At Spellos on Twitter, Peter Spellos at Gmail, Peter Spellos on Facebook. Stay in touch with me because I want to know what you're doing as much as you want to know what I'm doing.
We are literally bringing the house down.
You have caused that to happen. I ended with one line from the comedian Sandra Bernhard from the 1980s, and her line was, without you, I am nothing. Thank you very much for coming down.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click on the like button and leave us a comment below. Also, spare a moment to share this video on Twitter, Facebook, and all your social media pages. To get updates on all of our latest videos delivered straight to your inbox, subscribe now using the link on the screen.